What up, y'all? Welcome to the Blazin A Trail podcast. I am your host, Tut Kai Leach, aka K1. This podcast is all about giving the listeners a certain mindset and a perspective that will allow them to have the right tools in their toolkit so they can start blazing their own path. Before we get along and get to know this guest, we're going to do some quick housekeeping. Blazin A Trail, as you can see, has now partnered with KZUM 89.3 radio station. And also shout out to Matt and the team at Turbine Flats for having us here for this month. And we need everyone to follow us on YouTube right now. Search King Tut, K1NGTUT. What's your YouTube? Do you have a YouTube channel?
Yes, the CommonWealth Media.
Perfect. Y'all go follow them as well. So today we are joined by an entrepreneur, a creative, an internet personality, in my opinion.
Well, thank you.
A Runza fanatic.
Runza fanatic.
Yeah, the co-creator of the
The ranch.
We're going to talk about that.
Yes, most definitely.
The co-creator of the CommonWealth Podcast, the digital promoter of Hurrdat Media, a Renaissance man. Nick has worked with the Discovery Channel, Disney, Crayola, X Games, ESPN, Mellow Mushroom, Buzzfeed, and various other local businesses. Trailblazers out there, please help me by welcoming Nick Castner to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Ted. So, on your housekeeping notes, KZUM is dope. We also
that's what I was gonna say.
Yes, the Commonwealth is also partnered with KZUM. It's very, very supportive. And Turbine Flats and Matt, they were actually the first sponsor of the Commonwealth.
See,
so from a very supportive of like the creative art community.
I love it. Man.
Yes.
Dude, so Nick, this podcast, we were kind of talking about it earlier. So this is helping people get off the fence and getting them to take a leap of faith, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Because most of us learn by doing. So a lot of our generation is stuck in analysis paralysis.
Mm-hmm. Watching TikTok.
Yeah. And thinking we need to have everything figured out as soon as we get out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody sort of has this mindset and they don't want to feel left out in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my friends are doing this. My friends are doing that. But we want them to focus kind of getting their feet dirty. So what we'll talk about is how you manage to take a leap of faith and trying all these different avenues, whether it be jobs, hobbies, and the quote-unquote failures you experienced to get you where you are now as a trailblazer. But first, we need to understand what led you there and what you learned along the way.
Okay.
So first off, we just need the basics. Where were you born?
I was born in Sidney, Nebraska. It's a small town on the Panhandle. There were about 80 kids in my high school class.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
Do you know Chase Ferrix?
Very well. How do you know Chase? I know Chase. So I played basketball with Chase. He was 2 years older.
I used to work with him at the city.
Oh,
He's
yes.
like, I'm from Sidney, Nebraska. I'm like, I don't know where that is.
Yeah, the last time I saw Chase, I was walking into Pinnacle Bank Arena for a basketball game. And he was like the ticket guy or like checking the bags or something. I was like, Chase, I haven't seen you since probably you graduated.
Yeah.
So, but good dude, good ass dude.
So you say you're 25?
I'm 25, yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. I see a lot of growth happening. Okay, so what were you certain that you were going to do as an adult in middle school, and how did that change in high school?
So I always knew I wanted to get into business. My dad is like a businessman, and I was always interested in business, and I probably refined that into marketing by the time I was in high school. Like leaving high school, I was like, I think I want to like market a business.
Yeah.
But before that, like in middle school and elementary school, I bounced around on a whole bunch of different fields. Yeah. As a kid, my parents watched Friends a lot.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be a paleontologist like Ross. If you've seen Friends, yeah.
Paleontologist.
It's like when you use like dinosaur bones.
Oh.
Yeah. So I like history stuff. So I want to do that for a little bit because of Ross Geller on Friends. And then I don't know. I also didn't put a whole lot of thought into it.
Of course.
Yeah.
We're young.
Yeah. But it was probably high school, and like those guidance counselors exercises where you like fill out a test and it tells you what you could be.
Or,
And I didn't find the results helpful at all, but it probably made me like stop and think about like what should I do after high school.
And you, is there one high school in Sydney?
Well, yes, definitely only one high school.
What's your mascot? What was your mascot?
The Red Raiders.
The Red Raiders?
It was, we licensed it through Texas Tech. So
I was going to say, that's kind of dope.
Yeah, it's their logo pretty much.
Just with just a Sydney.
Yeah, like Sydney Red
lettering.
Raiders. Yeah. Like same
Do you play
colors.
any sports?
Yeah, I played basketball, and track, football, but basketball was kind of my thing. Yeah.
What position?
Center, and I was tall and could play defense. I'm not very coordinated, so the whole like scoring I wasn't very good at. But
You were just good at stopping people from it.
yeah, yes.
That's what's up.
Could kind of jump. So blocking shots.
That's fun.
Yeah, yes. I was very good at dunking in warm-ups. I could never get it in games, but I could slam it on that. That
was your time to shine.
Yeah, yes. It would really throw the team off when like I didn't even my senior year I didn't start every game. So I'd be just there slamming in the layup line and then wouldn't hit the floor right away.
Put this guy in.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, can you remember a time when you did something entrepreneurial in your younger years, but didn't know that you had the entrepreneurial spirit?
Yeah, so like I mowed lawns.
Ooh, yeah.
So like I think that there's like a hustle to that.
Facts.
It wasn't like there's some high school kids go super hard and have like a whole business and a team.
Got the
and stuff.
trailer connected to the bike.
Yeah. It was definitely like a one-man show, and I had like probably like 3 or 4 gigs.
Yeah.
But that is probably
Same.
Yeah.
Same with snow, especially here in Nebraska. When we came here in 2005, we moved from Tennessee, but there wasn't much snow. But when it came like 2 years later, I was like, I'm kind of used to the cold winter now. Let me try and make some money off my neighbors.
Yeah.
Because they had pretty big driveways and sidewalks. That's when I started doing stuff, but I didn't think it was. I'm just trying to make some money so I can go to McDonald's down the street.
Exactly.
So yeah, what is something you wish you would have done in high school now that hindsight is 2020?
I wish I would have done in high school. So I was kind of like the potentially like a little bit of a troublemaker in high school.
Yeah, rebel. Huh?
Yeah, a rebel, most definitely. So I have a long list of things I maybe wouldn't have done, but the things I should have done. I also didn't get great grades. I was like,
Me either,
a very average high school student. So maybe try a little bit more. Like the ACT, I just like showed up and just took it. You know, I didn't study. So for that maybe.
Yeah.
I'm sure if
more academia.
Yeah. Yes. And I wasn't a very good athlete, but everyone I felt people expected me to be an athlete because I was so tall.
Exactly.
And I wish I would have allowed myself to not be an athlete.
I like that.
Yeah,
Go against the grain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like, I'm friends with people now who did. Well, my girlfriend was like into musical theater and show choir. My little brother did speech.
I wish I would have done show choir.
Yeah, I'm not a good singer, so I don't know show choir. But the whole like performing on stage and speech in particular, I think that's like a really good high school thing that I wish I would have done some of that stuff.
Awesome. So what did you end up doing after high school?
So I moved to Lincoln and went to the University of Nebraska.
Okay, so what led you to pursue college? Was it family pressure, society pressure? Did you want to go to college?
Yeah. So there's like a whole movement going on right now of the like you don't have to go to college.
But I felt like it was necessary in my life.
You do?
Like there was parts of it that I was like, dang, because I'm more of a person who needs to be taught. Like I'm a self-learner to a point, but I need somebody to kind of like, all right, Tut, sit down. This is how we do it, step by step. Because like I can go to YouTube and do that stuff, but I need somebody to walk me through. Yeah,
yes, most definitely. And I also didn't know exactly what I wanted to do.
Facts.
That if there was like a 17 or 18-year-old leaving high school who knew they wanted to be a videographer, so they were just going to get video work instead of going to college, I don't think that person, I don't think college is going to provide too much value for that person.
Exactly.
But I didn't have that. So to answer your question about like what pressures drove me to college, is probably all of them. But I also wanted to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a willingness as well.
Yes.
So knowing what you know now, what is something you would have done differently in college?
In college,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I did college
Pretty
right.
real,
Yeah. Like I did kind of learning from the high school thing. I I wrote for the Daily Nebraskan.
That's what's up.
Just as kind of like a fun new thing for me to do, and it was I was also in a fraternity, and those two communities are very like different from one another.
You want to shout them out right now?
Yeah, DU, Delta Upsilon. It was the house I was in. And then the DN, and like both were good experiences, but it was nice to kind of like know people in different parts of campus. Network, yes, exactly.
That's important.
Yes, probably the most valuable thing I got from college.
Easily for myself, because it's like when you have all these things going on in classes, you get kind of bogged down in realizing the importance of meeting these new people, getting out of your comfort zone, because like you never know when you're gonna meet up again or what they're gonna do in their journey. So it's good to build that bridge.
Yeah,
because at the time I'm like, I got to get this done, go home, and not worry about anything. But it's like I paid for this experience, you know, so I should make best of what I have.
Yeah.
But at the time, it's like I had a lot of doubts of, man, is this what I really want? But it's like my parents came to the States so I can go to college.
Wow.
So it's like I got to do it.
Yeah.
But I want to do it, like you said. I also want to do it, but it's like I'm also doing it for them to be happy and know that that their sacrifice was appreciated. So it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So when I got done, I'm like, okay, now I really have to turn it up.
Yeah. What did you go to school for?
I went to school for international relations.
Okay,
so
interesting.
So it's like I wanted to focus on global development.
Yeah.
So
where did your parents move from?
South Sudan.
Wow. Okay.
So we came as refugees. So my parents migrated to they migrated to Nairobi, Kenya, where I was born. So it's like a week walk. Their village was pillaged. So it's like, we got to go.
Whoa.
So I was born in the refugee camp of Nairobi, Kenya. 2 years later, after my parents signed paperwork so we can possibly get a sponsor to come to the States. That happened in 1994. We came here in Dallas in September of 1994. Then we moved to Nashville. Then we moved to San Diego. Then we moved back to a small town in Tennessee. Then we came here in 2005.
Okay.
So that's kind of like, I'm well-traveled, but in a sense of, like, we have to figure out ways to survive, in a sense, and flourish. So that's why I felt the pressure of, I have to go to college.
Yeah.
Because I'm the oldest of 13 children.
Whoa. Okay.
So I have this necessary weight, you know?
Yeah.
Like, in a sense, I have to be the trailblazer.
Yeah.
If I do something wrong, they're going to think it's okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, don't go down that path. Okay, let's show them that you can make something of yourself. Let's say you don't go to college. I want you to have the same work ethic that you do if you were in college, outside of college. If you want to go the videography route, go hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, there's no structure. And like we were talking about on the episode, there's no structure when you're out of college. College, they give you the structure. All right, cool. These are the things, and this is how we're going to learn this actual skill set. But when you don't have that, it's like you have to put like a plan in place in order to like become successful in that field. Because a lot of kids are like, well, I'm just going to do this. But it's like you have to realize, in order to be really good at this, these are the things that you have to do in order to be good. You can't just like willy-nilly do things anymore. Like now it's like you don't want to go to college route, but you have to work hard still, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Nick, what led you to be the host at the CommonWealth Podcast? And can you tell us more of how it came about?
Yeah, totally. So I was working at an e-commerce startup here in town, Bulu. They do subscription boxes.
Paul?
Paul Jarrett's the co-founder with his wife, Stephanie. And overall, it was a wonderful experience. I learned a lot, a ton. It was my first gig leaving school.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So it was a wonderful situation and environment to start my career. And then towards the end of my tenure there, someone from a local news organization reached out. They were an editor, and they were developing podcasts.
Okay.
And asked me to host a local podcast on entrepreneurship.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it was one of those, I said yes even before they finished the question. I was like, I'm in for it. And I had no experience with media or anything. I listened to podcasts and really liked it.
Yeah.
And my assignment was to go make a handful of episodes and report back.
Yeah.
And I did that. I was, I probably had 5 or 6 in the can. And in the same week, Bulu went through a restructuring and laid off a bunch of their staff, myself included.
Damn.
And then a few days later, the editor-in-chief from that media outlet hit me up and were dropping my podcast project to focus on print. Yeah. And so I had 2 jobs and lost them both in the same week.
Damn.
Yeah. So tough week. But I took the moment to realize I really loved podcasting and it was something I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I dove headfirst into podcasting.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You got slapped in the face twice in a week.
Twice in a week. Yeah. It was, and the second one hit harder than the first.
Yeah, because like, were you uncertain if you were going to continue podcasting on?
So when I lost the first like full-time job, I was like, oh, well, I have the podcast. Yeah.
Oh man.
And then when the second one hit, I thought our first episodes were really good. I was very proud of it.
Yeah.
And still am, like, when I listen back, it's like the audio quality, it sucks. It was definitely the first time I did interviews.
Exactly.
It's not perfect, but I started and was like, I want to keep on doing this.
See, because I feel like podcasting is cathartic. Like, it's fun to have conversations.
Yeah, yes.
Like, some people don't like hearing their voice, but I don't mind it.
Yeah.
Because I see it in the editing standpoint of like, whoa, this is good quality. We're providing a lot of value. That's how I think about podcasting.
Yeah, same here.
Because I'm like, I'm washing my dishes and we're dropping gems.
Yes. And I think like we make the time to find these cool people and talk with them and learn from them and then share that with other people. And I think there's value to that.
Facts.
Is kind of, I guess, how I sleep at night. But happy you're agreeing with me, Todd.
Nick, tips for people wanting to start a video podcast.
Start a video podcast.
Should they be super prepared before they go, or should they get the best equipment? Like, what are your tips now that you've gone down this path?
Yeah. So we are approaching almost 100 episodes.
Yes.
We're like, we're on episode like 94. It'll be 2 years.
Hold on.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. It's one of those, I'm not always great at like acknowledging big moments like that.
Yeah.
But I had a guest recently say that's an important thing to do.
Yeah, celebrate your dubs, bro.
Exactly. And it was like 100 episodes seems like a celebration. I'm excited about it. And we didn't start doing video until maybe episode like 50. And now I think most podcasts should be on video.
Yeah.
And I think my big mantra on this is just to start. Like, it's not going to be perfect, but just I still don't feel like I have very good equipment. Like, there's like equipment upgrades we could definitely make. And I don't think anyone ever has the perfect equipment.
No,
you know,
because everybody, it's like we need more.
Yeah,
because it's like when you have multiple guests, it's like not everybody has the same mic, so it's not going to be the same consistency or. That's the stuff that I worry about, because I understand, because like I had the music tech minor, so I know the differences between like a dynamic, a condenser, and ribbons and stuff like that. So I'm having the mindset of, we have to have transparency throughout all equipment. But it's like you said, what we told you guys before, just get started.
Yeah.
So did you do everything at the beginning?
So Alec McChesney was the guy I started it with.
Shout out Alec.
Yeah, shout out Alec. I am grabbing drinks with him tonight.
Hey.
Shout out Alec for sure. And he edited it all and also provided. He made some podcasts before, and he was with that news organization we started with. Yeah. And then he left and now works at Firespring.
Yep.
So he does business development for Firespring, and he helped me, I guess, just like editorially, you know, like both in the concept of like editing the audio of like actually like putting it in Audacity, adding music, taking out, the weird stuff.
Exactly.
But then also provided guidance on like, oh, like in this other context, we did this, we should maybe do that here. But yeah, I was started as the host, and then the promoter. I promoted it a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
I looked at your page.
And yeah, I would say I was always, and Alec always had a full-time job. And then I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do next exactly, but I know it's going to involve podcasting.
Exactly.
So I'm going to devote all my time to this podcast.
I love it.
Yeah.
So what do you do now for work?
Yeah. So that time ended up getting filled with, I started like a kind of a media production business.
Yeah.
That the Commonwealth made money by like sponsorships, and we had merch, but the majority of my income came from producing things for other people.
Yeah.
And then I kind of like grew that into like a network of freelancers I would tap for different projects. And then I saw Hurrdat. Hurrdat is a marketing agency in Omaha. Yeah, and then they were getting into media. They own Hail Varsity, if you're familiar with that. Yeah.
They do?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Wow.
And they're like, I guess they're in our media division, they're a different department. So Erin Sorensen is their deputy editor, and I love her. I say, I'm friendly to her when I see her, but I don't necessarily work very closely with Hail Varsity.
Just like I mess with you.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. I'm a fan of theirs.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they own Hail Varsity, and then they were partnering with like a whole list of podcasts, and it's one of those. I shot them a note just as a, hey, we both are Nebraska podcasters. We should be friendly. Do you want to grab like 30 minutes over like a virtual coffee type of thing? Yeah. And then 30 minutes ended up turning into about 90. And they offered me a job. On the spot. Thank you. So now I technically have 2 relationships with them. I run all my content through them. So like I am a content creator for Hurrdat, but they're also my employer.
That's so dope.
It's a sweet setup. It's a good setup. And like even the different production gigs I was doing before joining, they weren't all podcasting. They were not all podcasting.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I was like running a TikTok for a country musician and weird video editing. Just like weird video projects that come up. And I still feel like the thing I am best at is promoting a podcast. Yeah, and that's now the only thing I do.
Bro, see, that's what I'm trying to get at. Oh no. Anyway.
Noted. I'll keep that in mind.
Okay. Yeah. Now I looked at this one episode. It seemed like you guys were at this big table. You were sitting at the end.
Okay.
There was a couple people on the side, and it was your team.
Oh yeah.
When did you realize that you needed more people on the team?
Instantly. Instantly. As soon as we added video is the real answer. As soon as we added video, I was like, editing video is a whole thing.
Yeah.
Who edits the video for this show?
Like I started and then I gave some responsibility to them. So we take turns and stuff, but it's tough, bro.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Especially if you only working through your laptop.
Yeah. Yes. So we brought on a video editor. His name's Kyle, still with us. Again, shout out Kyle.
Putting in the work.
Yeah. And then I interviewed, one of the first ones was, do you know who Al Maxey is?
Albert Maxey?
Yeah.
He's Al on Maxey the board Sr.? For who I work for.
Okay.
Yeah.
I interviewed him. He is an amazing person.
He is, bro.
He was the bodyguard for Martin Luther King. Do you know that?
No.
Martin Luther King spoke at the Pershing when, like in the 60s, and Mr. Maxey was his bodyguard when he came to town.
Crazy.
Yeah, and then played basketball.
I know he played basketball.
Yeah, with Oscar Robertson and Wilt Chamberlain. Him and Oscar was in his wedding or something, or vice versa. It was, and I went to his. He is now an artist, has an art studio. Yeah, and we recorded it in his studio. And he like took me basically through his like scrapbook type of thing that was on his wall, but. Like a bunch of cutout pictures, and he's like, "Oh, here's me with Will. Here's me with Martin Luther King," and he was giving me a hard time because I kept on saying, "What's he? What's he like? Yeah, what's he like? What's he like?" And finally, he's like, "Oh, everyone's always asking me, what's he like? What's he like? They're just people." But anyway, on the video, that I didn't frame it properly. The shot on me is my forehead's cut off. Like the top of my head's cut off. It was terrible framing. So once that happened, I was like, I need someone to run the equipment while I'm talking. Yeah.
Because at first, literally first episode's me and Jack.
Yeah.
So we would have to get up, pause the video, pause the audio.
Yeah.
And we're just like, we need a person. We need another person.
Yeah. Most definitely. It's tough. It's tough to do it alone.
Okay. What are some pitfalls that you had at the beginning phase of the podcast?
Pitfalls at the beginning.
Like not having enough space on your memory card. Was it?
Oh yeah. So I've done all of that.
Yeah.
All of it. Yeah, forgetting to send the guest a invite so they forget about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Losing stuff. Having if you are on an iPhone at least, if you record a long form video and then get a phone call or text message
it
stops. So you have to turn your phone to airplane mode. I learned that the hard way. Oh my gosh, the worst. I spoke with. Do you know who Win Wiley is? I'm not to name drop. He used to office out of here.
Photographer.
Photographer.
Yeah,
Yes.
I saw that episode with you guys.
Yeah. Again, he's just another delightful person. But Hunter was out of town or what? He was on family vacation, so he wasn't there on that shoot. And I was struggling to get all the get the cameras working properly in front of a photographer. I was like, and it was one of those. I was like, you know this better, even though it's not your camera. You know how to do all of this better. And of course, I'm sweating in front of him. So there's been so many just unperfect things, struggles, all of that. And then getting people to listen to a podcast, especially now, it gets harder as more people do it.
Yes.
But it's not easy. And props for I watch your YouTube stuff. And it's you're developing a community and respect because that's not easy.
Yeah. The reason why I do it is because if I do have children, they're gonna look back.
Yeah.
So I want to show them what's possible. Mm-hmm. So it's I'm doing this for the people to listen as well, but I also want to give this to my children.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? Yeah, I feel
so I'm being the trailblazer for my family.
Nice.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah. Before we continue, we'll take a quick break, and we're back. So we were talking about some of the pitfalls that came for you. So let's talk about how you get these high-profile guests on your show. Not just for me, but for everybody coming up.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are some of the tactics that you should know? Because Landon Rhodes, he was just if you need some guests, what really works for me was if they have an Instagram, hit them with the voice message because they can understand your tone of voice and stuff like that. So I'm smart. But
and it worked for me actually because you sent me a voice message.
Yeah, that's why I was
Instagram.
yo, Nick.
And I immediately got the whole tone and vibe. That's a really good idea actually. Yeah. Especially being podcasters.
Exactly. They're like, ooh, this guy's animated. He's excited.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say this is classic networking.
Yes.
So this advice is applicable to even broader than how to get them guests. Okay, so say if there's one specific person that you want to interview that you've isolated, they have a network, a community of themselves.
Yes.
So trying to think through, one time someone said, I've yet to interview this person, but so I don't want to get too specific. But okay, so say someone like Win Wiley, who was a very just exciting big get for us. If you want to interview him, start by if he's say giving some presentation someplace.
Yeah.
Show up to it and don't look to talk to Win because after everyone's going to be trying to talk to Win.
Yep.
Look to talk to the first person he talks to after the presentation.
Ooh.
So his friend or whoever he came with, make friends with them and then just build relationships kind of strategically like that.
Just so you build a rapport within the friends hey, I think it's a good opportunity for you.
Yeah, exactly. And I would I think through that of even in a sales context or hey, I want to know this person who is in their network and do we already have some people that can maybe introduce us and if so can I shoot them a note and ask like, oh, how is Tut? Or
Yeah.
like, how do you know Tut or whatnot?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So that's helpful. The DMing on Instagram.
Yeah.
A well-crafted Instagram DM slide can get you a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't know sometimes how to word it.
Yeah, it's
But
tough.
I've gone on the aspect of me knowing people in my personal life, and then hey, I really appreciate the journey that you've been on, and I think a lot of people would benefit from your story. So I want to give them a platform. That's how I'm like, yo, come on the podcast.
Yeah, and I think that'll get a lot of. I mean,
Yeah.
That'll get you far.
It's just getting into that, like you said, that circle of friends.
Yeah.
Because like right now, I'm going at you, Mr. Goins. I'm trying to find you.
Yeah.
Because I got your number, but it's so hard to get a contact. Get like all that situated because he has a lot going on.
Yeah. I know Tony really well. He's been on my show, and so my dad worked for Cabela's growing up.
Oh, that's where he was.
Yeah. And my dad like interviewed him for Cabela's. Yeah.
What does your dad do?
Yeah. So he was the CFO of Cabela's.
Oh,
Yeah.
snap.
And then Tony ran the bank, so they worked really closely together. Yeah.
Makes
So if
sense.
you need an intro, I'm happy to introduce you. to
Yeah,
Tony.
we're gonna need that.
Yeah, for sure. We should connect after.
Yeah, because he told me to go at this Young Professional Tuesday, so we chopped it up for a little bit. But I didn't want to be super direct. Like,
Yeah,
hey, bro, I'm here
yes.
because. But I actually wanted to learn from the people who were speaking that
Yeah.
night. you know?
Which one did you go to?
I went to the one with Lily and this other lady, but they're lawyers. One was like a starting lawyer, and one was like a very experienced lawyer. They're both females, and they're kind of. It was a really cool night, and I think I'm about to go on Tuesday when they're going to talk to Mary Ellen's, Charles, and them. So
Okay.
so yeah, I'm gonna do that. But yeah, back to you. So how do you? Because like I don't know if you have like a place you consider home for the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
How do you go about finding places to record?
So because at the beginning, we didn't have a studio.
Yeah.
So I would frame my interview request by saying, we'll go to the most convenient place for you.
Yes.
Wherever
Smart.
Yes. So we would go for the most part, go to their offices.
Exactly.
And a few times it would get tricky. Like when you interview a musician, they don't really have offices.
Yeah.
So, and like asking to go to their home seems like a little too far, it'll be so easy. I'll go to your living room. It seems like a weird thing to like frame it as. So that was actually our partnership with KZUM that
Came into place.
It was a good, just like strategic partnership,
Yes.
like for pretty much any local podcast, I would say, hit up KZUM. But having a studio was super, super helpful. With COVID and there was a COVID policy that hopefully
They lifted it.
They did? Okay.
Yeah, they were like, at the time, they were like, we can only allow 3 people. And I was like, that's literally my team.
Yeah.
We can't do that.
Can you have guests though?
Yeah.
You can now?
Yeah.
Okay. Sweet.
So that's what was limiting us at the time.
Yeah.
So like, we want to have just like I made my apartment room to like the podcast room. I want to have a place where we can also decorate to make it the home of Blazin A Trail, because I'm tired of moving equipment all the time,
Yeah.
So it's like the toughest part about this is finding a place where to record.
Yeah. This isn't bad though.
No, that's why we've been talking to Matt. So.
Yeah. And then KZUM, my Hunter, the Commonwealth's executive producer, he is building out a home studio.
Smart.
Yeah, and he has some podcasts with his buddies.
He has a home? Does he have an actual home?
No, I mean he's renting.
Okay, cool, but that's still good though.
Yeah. And he's about to move into the new place. Ooh. So I haven't quite seen the setup, but even having something just like this where and we're starting to kind of transition the content that now half of the episodes are like our team talking about things, and then the other half are that same interview format.
Okay.
And I think it would be nice if we could all in the same room like make the kind of team episodes.
Yeah, that'd be dope actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that you got like a taste of Blazin A Trail, what are some things that you think we capitalize on that we don't see? Because we're kind of starting out too.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to take some constructive criticism.
Oh, well, So I think the format, excitement, passion is spot on.
Yeah.
For sure. And it kind of reminds me of like launching the Commonwealth, of just like being so excited and like passionate.
Yeah.
And I definitely see that in this show.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know I guess what are your biggest, like, do you have any questions of like, oh, I think
Like,
this could
it be structure? Like I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to see where my blind spots are, in a sense.
Yeah, okay.
Coming from a fellow podcaster.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Media, like social media, you guys do really well with that. So that's one thing I already know.
Yeah.
It's like,
I would also say you guys are like doing like executing well on social. Too.
Yeah.
Like there's clips and there's kind of like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to like dwindle it down to like you're hitting all the basics, you know, because like I'm sure it's not basic and like a lot of work goes into it.
Oh, for sure.
But like the fundamentals, I guess, would be that.
Yeah.
Like Blazin' Trail is for sure there on social.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it also like, what exactly are you hoping to do with this?
So we're trying to make this be more of a platform. Okay. So we want to bring all types of people that are alongside the trail that we were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah.
Because like I'm talking to a certain demographic of people. Mm-hmm. So they could look like me. They can come from a poor background, rich background. But it's just like I want to give a different perspective and bring on a person who's very experienced in their journey, somebody who's starting out, somebody kind of in the middle. So that's my whole thing. But everything is going to be under the umbrella of Yato.
Okay.
So this is a way of giving out the kind of message that we believe for the company. So Blazin' A Trail is a way that we could bring that long form message out, because Instagram is very short in a sense. Like I can't get out long thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Like it's hard for me sometimes to put a meaningful paragraph or anything in one post. What I can do is make a clip of it, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I want to do, because Yato is going to be the umbrella, the brand.
Yeah.
We want somewhere like media, and this is it.
Okay.
So we could have like, what I want to do is like have like these meetups in a sense.
Yeah.
So
we can get into live events in a second. I'm so excited for live events to come back.
Because that's where I see a lot of value coming. So it could be like, it could even be here in that the room that they have downstairs. Like, yo, we have a fellow podcaster, Nick, and if you guys, this will be like almost like a young professionals kind of like a meetup.
Totally.
So that's what I want in a sense for Yato to be. I want to have a place not necessarily like the Bay, but it has the same kind of things. So a place where people have the resources in order, if they want to do photography, if they want to learn how to make music, how to record music, if they want to learn Photoshop, stuff like that.
Yeah.
The creative, that's what I'm focused on, the creative aspect of everything.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted people on Blazin' A Trail kind of in the creative mindset, not just entrepreneurs. It could be a graphic design artist. It could be just anything in the creative field. Because the creative arts, the arts in itself is what is going to allow humanity to innovate for the future. Like I want to get kids into tech. I want to get kids doing these visuals and making it cool, not just sports. Yeah. So that's what I want to focus on.
Yeah. So the thing I've been putting a bunch of thought into about the Commonwealth, and I think it relates to Blazin' A Trail and Yato. There was always a community behind the Commonwealth that really helped, like both the audience, but then also like partnerships like KZUM and now
Runza.
Runza. Yeah, Runza. Huge shout out to Runza. Huge. Eternally shouting out Runza for sponsoring the Commonwealth. Eternally shouting them out. I didn't, I guess, always create content with that same lens. Like this is for a community. Yeah. And now, especially leaving as the pandemic begins to, like, everyone's getting vaccinated.
Weaning off.
Yes. Yeah. I think people are going to be hungry for a new type of physical experience.
Facts.
Yeah. And so what does that, and how can the Commonwealth, do that in the physical, like how can the Commonwealth be a part of that and also use it as a way to expand the community.
Exactly.
So I think like I'm now trying to rethink everything through the lens of like, let's build a community.
Facts.
And very similar vibe of like the CommonWealth interviews creators of disruptive change. So like, let's get creative people who are at some point in their creative journey together to support one another, uplift one another, learn from one another. And then the podcast is kind of the vehicle that drives the thing.
It's the caboose, bro.
Yeah, yes. And I think what the Bay does so well is that community.
Facts.
I love the vibe there. As soon as
Shout out to Mike, man.
Yeah, shout out Mike. And the Bay High.
Yeah, shout out to you guys for the focus program now.
Yeah, yes. So and I guess that what was the question? I kind of went on a rant there.
Yo, I kind of forgot too. Oh, I was just asking you, what do you think we could capitalize on? And you asked me, what is my... Yeah.
And like really thinking about like 10 years from now.
Yeah, that's exactly,
Yeah, 10 years from now, what do I want this to look like, feel like, sound like, be? And what can I start doing today that builds that? And most of the time, it's not the microphone you're using.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's the content or the value that you're giving.
Yeah, but you were asking about blind spots, and I really don't see one with the show. It takes time, which I would guess.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like you know that it doesn't happen overnight. Just keep on doing it.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah.
What are some tips for people who want to be like a digital content creator for companies?
For companies,
yeah. Should they have like a portfolio, like a resume, and then give to a company?
Yeah, a portfolio.
In the sense of like,
nice, but but like a portfolio, like a website where like if you're gonna take pictures, there's a link I can click on with your best pictures or whatever that is. I think it's a very good way to start. And again, build out that portfolio.
Yes,
and the first few projects won't be perfect.
Yeah,
you may not get paid for it. I don't like taking advantage of young creative people, so like I'm a big advocate for like don't ask your photography buddy to shoot for free or like don't expect them to like take photos of you for free. But that said, you may have to do a few free projects as you start, and then after you have that portfolio, it's a numbers game. If you send it out to 100 people, 4 may say yes. 4%. That's like a decent click through, like on an email, marketing campaign.
Open rate.
Open rate. Yeah. And you just have to send it to 100 people.
Facts.
And then send it to tweak the email, and then send it to 100 more, and then eventually you're gonna have 8 clients, and that's
some quality advice, bro.
Yeah.
Because like people have to get comfortable with rejection.
Oh yeah, it's a part of it.
Yeah,
it's a part of it.
It's just like, okay, cool. I'm closer to the next yes in a sense. That's how I see it. I'm like, cool. It doesn't fit with them at this time. Yeah. Somebody else might. Yeah. You know?
My girlfriend Emmy.
Shout out to Emmy.
Shout out Emmy. Yeah, she's also a musician. We started dating right when I started the CommonWealth and like lost both gigs and all of that. And she always said, every no leads to a better yes.
Love it.
Yeah.
You got to write one. You know what's funny? Because I was literally going to ask you, how has being an entrepreneur / creative affect your personal life and social life?
That's a good question.
Yeah, because I'm going through it too.
Yeah, yeah. So how does it affect your personal life and social life? I would say it's just kind of different. Like when you go against the grain, people aren't going to understand what you're doing.
Facts.
My grandpa was super confused about. Well, doesn't know what a podcast is even now. A huge disconnect. Until I joined Hurrdat. Yeah. And then he totally went 180 and was like, this is how Johnny Carson got his start too. I was like, first off, where was this like 6 months ago? And it was an instant turnaround. Oh man. Yeah, and even like friends and like it's just a different lifestyle.
It is, man.
My 3 roommates, I'm very, like some of my best friends, very close with them. But they all had day jobs where they were, showed up, worked every day, and then
Exactly.
left. And then I'm doing stuff in the middle of the night and like talking to freelancers who work overseas. So I have to meet them literally like at 9 o'clock at night.
Exactly.
And it's just different. And then social, but it's also important though to still make time for things. I think it's way easier when you're living in that like inconsistency.
Just to put your head in the sand.
Yeah. And then like not reach out to friends, and then pretty soon like your friends stop like inviting you to places. So like make a point to like still have healthy friendships and like family life. The balance. Exercising. You mentioned working out this morning. I'm still really bad about that. I've used the pandemic.
Takes time, man.
Yeah. I've used the pandemic as an excuse for like the last 2 years.
But it's
or
okay.
However long it's been going.
You can use that as a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah. But yes.
Okay. What key activities would you recommend to like young creatives in their spare time?
So I really, really, really like making other things.
Like,
like
explain.
Yeah. Like if you want to be a photographer and you take photos all day, make a podcast episode just because
you have to put it out. I think
exactly. Some of my best content is the ones that I could not release. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I cannot publish this.
Is that how Quarantinecation came out?
Yeah. So Emmy is my girlfriend, and I was living in Colorado. So in all the in the whole like turbulent lifestyle, I guess, when I started the CommonWealth, lost 2 jobs, I was like, oh, what am I gonna do? I slept on a bunch of friends' couches and stuff. Surfing. And then I moved to Colorado because one of my best friends is a ski bum out there.
Oh,
yeah. So lived in Winter Park for a few months. And then Emmy, we were still dating. Emmy went out to see me. She's a teacher at Lincoln Public Schools.
Okay.
Yeah, and she went out to see me for their spring break, and it was supposed to be a week. And then COVID hit on spring break. So then our first thought was like, because I had to pay my lease there for like another 6 weeks. So we were like, oh, let's just stay here and then go back to Nebraska. And then we were watching I Am Legend in COVID. And then we looked at each other and like, what if they shut down state borders and we couldn't get back to Nebraska? Which like in hindsight, like that didn't happen.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a possibility.
Yeah, when it was first hitting, we were like, what? Like, no one knows what comes next. This has never happened before. We should go back to Nebraska. Yeah. So literally, we packed the next day all my stuff in my car. We drove back. Lived in my parents' basement and did quarantine.
Yeah,
and it was one of those, we were bored. TikTok, Tiger King, the whole thing. So we started podcasting. I had the equipment, and it was called Quarantinecation. It was going to be 14 days.
Yeah,
it made the news. Emmy's grandma who is the best PR person. Calling, she doesn't have a cell phone, so it's literally like a physical phone attached to the wall. Calling the local news stations. Yeah, KLKN picked it up. And then we kind of on again, off again for quite some time. Yeah. After that, we're like, oh, we like doing it, but
time consuming.
Yeah, time consuming. And then for a while, it was video, and I found it really frustrating. The video adds a lot more work to it.
It does.
Yeah, and
that's so true.
Yeah. Yes. And then probably about 2 months ago, while joining Hurrdat, we kind of had a conversation of like, are we actually going to do this? Because consistency in content is a huge thing. And we were being inconsistent. And so we had a conversation like, are we going to do this or are we not going to do this? And we decided we're going to do it. So we're actually rebranding the show to the Emmy Joe Show featuring Nick.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Because it is very much her. Like,
it is, yeah.
Yeah, and like she kind of decides what we talk about. And
that's dope.
Yeah, it's a little like cutesy relationship stuff, but yeah, it's fun. And we are about to update like the show art, and then she's recorded original music for.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I saw her. You guys at the Grid.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Shout out Philip.
Yeah. I actually don't really know Philip that well. Dylan,
he's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Dylan, oh, okay. You know.
Yeah. Dylan Parker. Yeah. Yeah. So that I think we get that final track back like next week, and then we should rebrand that like in a week or two.
Hell yeah.
That's kind of the story behind that show. And it's fun now. It's audio only, so it's kind of like the best. Like Yeah, I don't think I've never thought that shows work, you know, because like I either host or co-host 3 podcasts, and sometimes it can be work, you know, but that show, like, I'm just like having
just
fun
straight
with my
fun.
girlfriend, on a Wednesday night, because we release on Thursdays. So on Wednesday nights we're just, you know, talk about whatever's happening, or like the creative things we're working on. So yeah, that's kind of the quarantine-cation backstory.
I love it. Yeah. Nick, what motivates you?
What motivates me? So I don't really, when people ask me like, why do you do this? My answer, it took me a while to like accept the answer, and it's because I couldn't imagine not doing it.
I love it.
Like if I ever stopped the Commonwealth, I would look at what you're doing and be like, oh my God, I have to do it. I have to do it. So like once every other week or once a week or whatever, like he gets to sit down and talk with whoever he wants to, like whoever he thinks is cool. Like I would be so jealous of the other podcasts. So like, yeah, in any reality, I create something.
Yes.
And then from there, like what Emmy, I think it's fun helping Emmy make music. I'm not a musician at all.
Yeah.
So when like we're sitting at the grid with Dylan and her, Emmy and Dylan turn to me and they're like, oh, like, what do you think of this, Nick? I'm like, it sounds great. I don't know. I have no feedback on the song. Like, I'm providing no value, but besides like arranging and like you know, send the emails and all of that.
That's what's up.
And I just think it's cool. Like I really try to work on things that I think excite me.
I like that. Who are 3 people who have been the most influential in your life?
Most influential.
Or in your growth?
Yeah. Okay. So my parents, both of them.
Shout out.
Yeah, mom and dad, Ralph and Kim. Emmy would be very, like, it's just supportive.
Yep.
And I could have a really long list here.
Yeah. Let's do 5.
5, okay. So Paul Jarrett was a very good...
Shout out Mr. Bolo.
Yeah, very good mentor, and just provided good guidance as I started my career. John Rood, do you know, he spoke at
John Rood,
the last Do More Good movement, but he was the senior vice president of Disney. He lives in LA, and he is always down, like, I need to connect with him again soon, but once every 3 months, I sit down with him or exchange some emails and all that.
Do you know Spencer Quinn?
I don't know.
Because he worked at Disney, but anyways.
Okay, sweet. Yeah. So yeah, and John, just in a traditional like career advice, he is always there for me on that front. And then I don't know, a guy recently, Tom Chapman. He's from Omaha, and he is starting Mug.News. It is a like tech news blog that covers the Midwest. Yeah, and that's the 3rd podcast I host. That
makes sense.
Yeah. And we interview startup community leaders on that podcast. It's called the Ecosystem Builder Podcast. But Tom he's just a very insightful guy. So that's kind of, I guess, a short list.
How does he know that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, before we ask about your daily life, we're going to take a little break.
Okay.
All right. So, podcasting heavy, correct?
Yeah, yes.
What is your daily routine? It doesn't have to be exact, but give us kind of like a framework of what you do every day.
Yeah.
What time you get up?
Okay. I get up pretty early, like 6, sometimes earlier. At the current moment, I live in Omaha, and Hurrdat's office is in Omaha. And,
I was going to ask you, do you live here?
Yeah, and Amy lives in Lincoln, and you know, girlfriends, you're at their place a lot. So I'm in Lincoln a lot. So if I have to go back to Lincoln, I sometimes wake up
solid.
Like 5:30.
Hell yeah.
But 6, and then I always listen to The Daily. It's a podcast by the New York Times. It's like chart topping.
Oh yeah,
it's a news podcast. But that's like how I start almost every single morning. And then like work-wise, is that like my work day? I spend my time on our like top top 10% of shows of like size wise. And that consists of Hollywood Raw. It's an entertainment news podcast.
Okay.
Are you a Bachelor guy?
No.
Not at all. Okay. So we
Wait,
get
you
like
have a Bachelor show?
no. We just had like some big Bachelor person on recently.
Oh, okay.
That was like the interview was like featured in like People magazine and got really picked up. Us Weekly. Dale Moss. Dale Moss. Yeah. That's what he basically gave a non-answer. They asked if him
I signed an NDA.
Yeah. It was his first interview back. Because Claire left The Bachelor early because she after 2 days was like, oh, this is the guy I'm gonna marry. So they get engaged. And,
after 2.
Yeah, unprecedented. First time in Bachelor history.
F y'all. I like this.
Yeah, yes. And then they split up, and they weren't doing interviews with their ABC contract for a period of time, and then their first one back was for Hollywood Raw.
Damn.
So I do like YouTube optimization and like post things on social. They have a pretty strong TikTok.
Yeah.
The TikToks have popped off some. So
TikTok is fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love TikTok.
I just need to spend more time on it, I think.
Yeah. And then Shuli is another show we work on. It's called The Shuli Show. Shuli was a comedian on Howard Stern, and then recently broke
Jack,
off.
don't you like Howard Stern? Yeah.
Oh, so do you know who Shuli is? Yeah. Okay, we should talk after that. Yeah, he's a character. And the Howard Stern community, he was kind of like the punching bag, and then people at live events, people would be like, "F you, Shuli, F you."
Damn.
That's how they treated him, and he's still he doesn't mind having the role a little bit.
Damn.
He's also he's the type of comedian where it's like, I can't believe you just said that. And it's in meetings. In meetings, he'll say something like, I cannot believe in a professional setting I just heard
all
someone
nervous laughs.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and then there's a UFC couple that we work on the show that I do some stuff with.
Hell yeah.
So a bunch of YouTube, social media, working with the PR team, working with the paid social team.
What time do you sleep?
What time do I sleep?
Or does it vary?
Yeah,
or
it
do you try
varies.
and get to a certain time?
It varies. I try 10. Emmy goes to bed at so early.
Earlier than 10?
Yeah, 8:30 sometimes she goes to bed.
What time she get up? 4?
Yeah, we're super
Okay.
early. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, 5. If
was
she's
like, why
up
she
by
going to
5.
sleep that early
Yeah. So I stay up till 10 most of the time, just scrolling through TikTok.
Getting ideas, yada,
Yeah,
yada.
exactly. If I get ideas in the middle of the night, I don't go to bed for a long time. I'll literally
because you're
pace.
trying to think out the whole
Exactly. Yeah. I do that while walking. So especially now that it's getting nicer outside.
Exactly.
I'll literally just borderline pace when people who don't know me very well see me do this. It's you're just pacing back and forth.
I'm just thinking.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm thinking about something. I'm thinking through something.
Is most of your time on social media on TikTok? Or what do you do?
Just as a user, what am I
Yeah,
watching?
as a
type of stuff?
user.
Yeah. A lot of TikTok, some Instagram. As far as content I make, I Instagram, I guess, is more I kind of get it more.
Yeah.
TikTok, I always have ideas, but again, it's just a whole other project I'd have to start. And
Exactly.
I don't want to. I made one TikTok of me trying to learn the piano.
Yeah.
Because Emmy said we're working with a film crew to shoot a music video for Emmy, and she said I could be in the video if I learned how to play the piano. I was like, all right, this is an excuse to learn to play the piano.
Yeah.
And I watched a video of how to play the piano. I watch it not in front of a piano. I was like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
And then I watch it in front of a piano and try to follow along. I'm like, I cannot do this.
Coordination with the fingers is crazy.
And it's when I then went and to type on the keyboard after, I was like, it's different. It's mad props. And it's probably, I would guarantee it was like that for any instrument. It's I could learn to play the violin. And then you hold it, you're like, I couldn't do that. I can't do this. Yeah, so that, and I made a TikTok of my first time trying to learn it, and I was like, this could kind of be a thing on TikTok. I feel like
you tried new things all the time.
Yeah, or even just me playing the piano or learning to play the piano could be a thing I make on TikTok.
6 months later, they're like,
yeah.
whoa.
But then I have to commit 6 months, you know, like, so I've yet to find the thing on TikTok where it's like, all right, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
But Instagram, like I just like, you know, post pictures of like the things around me. And, Emmy's also a photographer. So that's super helpful.
Damn.
Yeah. So, it's split Instagram and TikTok and then a lot of YouTube. So.
Most of my time is on YouTube.
Yeah. It's almost not even like a social media.
No, for me, it's just like I'm either watching something funny or I'm watching a podcast or I'm just listening to something in the background.
Yeah. What podcasts
I listen
do you jam
to a lot, bro.
Okay.
I listen to School of Greatness. I listen to Aubrey Marcus podcast. I listen to Fresh and Fit podcast.
Okay.
I listen to the Poor Man's podcast. There's a lot of things that I listen to.
Okay.
Kevin Samuels. You ever heard of Kevin Samuels? Don't listen to it around your girl.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, those are the things that I kind of look at. And if not, I'm how to blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
I graduated from YouTube University.
Oh, most definitely. I watch actually a bunch of Howard Stern clips on YouTube.
I need to check out this guy.
Yeah.
Good foundation for like a solid.
Like a live show?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This guy's the guy.
And
Before anybody else.
oh yeah, like so he was the radio guy and I think he said this on David Letterman's show on Netflix, Howard Stern, but he was the radio guy in New York, and a quarter of the cars in New York would be listening to Howard Stern. Like a quarter of people who listen to the radio would listen to Howard Stern. And he says in this interview, he's like, and because David Letterman goes, that's remarkable, a quarter of people. And Howard Stern was like, at that time, I was pissed off that the other 3/4 weren't listening.
Oh my God.
And I think it's so easy to do that as
you're
a creator of like, oh yeah, no, like I had, you know, a few hundred people jam to this, and it's like, oh well, why aren't more people? But like still like a few hundred people jam to this, you know. And Howard Stern, his interview, I love his interview format, and like I watched him do interviews just to, like he's one of the like big name people I really like seek inspiration from. The type of comedy, like the raunchiness just to be raunchy, sometimes like I don't always jive with. Yes. For sure. Yeah.
Transition more into the interviews.
Yeah.
That's good. I like them.
Yeah. And you have to pay for a serious subscription to like watch full ones. So I
Like
don't.
a Patreon? Do you have a Patreon?
So I do. I'm Patreon. Do you have Patreon?
No, but I'm thinking about it. But I don't know how I would structure, like, hey, you can get it early. I know I can do that.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, we have a special guest and you can only get on.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, I can't. I don't feel like I could do that.
Or ask additional questions. So yeah, of like the clip the last 30 minutes and only put it on your Patreon. The Patreons that work best is if you position it as a product.
Facts.
Like over, like subscribe to my, like donate basically
Yeah.
to me. Like, oh no, subscribe and you get this.
I like that. Because I'm trying to find ways to monetize and so I can pay my brothers.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
it's like, how did you, like, how did you even get the Runza sponsorship?
Yeah. So I interviewed Donald Everett, who's the president.
Oh yeah. Okay, so that makes sense.
And then like 6 months later, I sort of worked with the Runza marketing team, wanting them to promote
the CommonWealth.
Yeah, the CommonWealth with Donald. And then 6 months later, I hit him up, and then
that makes
they sponsored.
sense.
Yeah. So and even like. That is definitely like a strategy that could work for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Like what the target audience that we have and how we can help that company that we believe in a sense.
Yes, and then merch would be another one, which you're already down the line, and then the recurring revenue of Patreon. So we have 3 patrons, and it's like $25-$30 a month with the 3 of them. That's not nothing, you know.
That's better than nothing.
Exactly.
I could just bounce that to them. And
Yeah, and
you got to think about that, bro.
Yeah, I'm not like the CommonWealth's Patreon does not follow my own advice of like making it a product. There's really not like I just need to. It's one of those I just need to put time into doing it. And then Patreon actually. my account is glitched and frozen that I can't like do things on it. And I reached out to them in December because I wanted to sell our shirts through Patreon.
December.
And December. And they said, this is an issue on our end, but we have no timeline on when it will resolve or when we'll get back to you. I hit them up last week and they said, we still have no update for you. I was like, I think it's about time to not use Patreon.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Rockfin? It's kind of similar.
Okay. I got hit with an ad for OnlyFans last week. But
Wait,
it was
what?
I was watching a YouTube video and it was like OnlyFans for musicians, artists. It was like not. I was like, that's not who I know. Like I don't have an OnlyFans. I don't have the app or anything.
But they're like, you could use OnlyFans.
Yeah. Like, well,
there's a lot of people who do that.
Yep.
It's kind of it has its reputation.
Yep. It has a connotation with it.
Yeah. And that's what like it could be a good. I like the Commonwealth. Like the Commonwealth occasionally is edgy and brings on like last week we brought on a former drug dealer. Like that, yeah. So
we can't put that information out there.
Yeah, no. So he was shot over a pound of marijuana, and then
Wait, the musician? Or who?
Yeah. Cruz.
Yeah.
Was shot over a pound of marijuana, and then like the near-death experience he took as like a learning moment, and now he makes music.
Damn.
Yeah. So it's
Shout out to you, Cruz.
Yeah. Yes. And Cruz, I've known the guy since like elementary school, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's dope. Then.
Yeah. But like being edgy, I want that to still.
Same.
Yeah. Yes. And then, so OnlyFans is edgy, but then you're also like, go check out. Do I really want to say go check out my OnlyFans?
Yeah,
I don't think so. I think that may be too edgy. But what was the one you mentioned?
Rockfin.
Rockfin. Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of my podcast guys that I listen to, they're moving over because they don't censor them because sometimes Patreon can just get rid of you.
Oh, okay.
Good
to know.
There's some conspiracy theories in the sense of like, I listen to conspiracy theorists where they like kind of break down like symbols and like stuff like that. Nothing about like weird stuff. He's more of like pointing out stuff in movies like, yo, look at this and this is the connection and cultism.
Yeah.
Like that's
Totally.
But he's like, some of this stuff has gotten blocked by Patreon, and I'm not liking that. Yeah. They say they're about free speech, but they're really not. So I'm going to Rockfin.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, cool.
All right, sweet. I'll have to check that out. And that's what it's an important. The two things I guess I'm kind of focusing on in the next quarter, I would say, is get some live events on the calendar, and it's stuff like even like the that you just mentioned. A lot of them are like collabing with people or different organizations or KZM or whatever that we could even do one together.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Bring your team. We bring our team.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Yeah,
because we all live in that space, so it's kind of like
most definitely.
Everybody else can ask questions too, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And then the reoccurring revenue that like getting $50 a month, and like it's not going to be huge when it starts, but before we have 2,000 people, we're going to need 5 people.
Yeah. Okay? Let's pivot a little bit. What genre of music can we find you? Can we find in your playlist right now?
Ooh, I've been jamming to Billie Eilish.
Oh yeah, I know you. You do like Billie.
Yeah, love Billie Eilish.
No one like her, bro.
No one like her. Yeah, in an interview, she'll be like, when people say like, "Oh, you're a pop musician," or "You're," she's like, "No, I'm making music that's never been seen or like heard before," which I agree. Yeah, love
her
Billie.
and Phineas.
Yeah,
it's perfect couple.
Yeah,
like a perfect duo, man.
Yeah, and it's crazy they're brother and sister. It's
I
crazy.
know.
Yeah, and the whole era of like bedroom beats that we're in, they
mastered that.
Yeah, they've mastered.
Then she got a Grammy, right?
Yeah,
That's
for
crazy.
music she made in her bedroom.
That's
in her childhood room. Yes,
we saw that in our music tech class, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, and their music tech, Phineas uses really cool. Like I was again listening to an interview the other day that he went and lit a bunch of matches
and used
the matches lighting in the song.
Yeah, that's exactly why our music tech teacher was like, all right, cool, we're gonna use unusual sounds. So I want you to use your phone as a recorder, and you just find weird sounds, whether it be in nature, and we're gonna use and incorporate that into whatever song we make next. So it was a way of just like, all right, cool, we got to think outside the box.
Yeah.
So, like using way different things. Anyways, what are three things that we should know about you that we didn't touch on? Do you not like peanut butter? Do you?
Yeah. So I am very, very open to answering people's questions on my Instagram DMs. So if there's something we didn't, or like if you start podcasting and something comes up, hit me up on, and Instagram DMs is the best, is what I'm most responsive to.
Perfect.
I absolutely love that. So that's one. I was the first podcast to cover the X Games.
Yeah, that's oh yeah.
Yeah,
I saw that
yeah.
and I was like, what?
Yeah. That when I was living in Colorado, I saw on TV like X Games in Aspen. I was like, oh, that's like 3 hours away, 3 to 4 hours away from me. I wonder how you approve, like I wonder how you get press access to the X Games. And then there was on ESPN's website, it was like to apply for press credentials, email these emails, and I just
ASAP.
Yeah, I immediately put it in there, and it was like shockingly, like based on the email, they were like, "Oh yeah, can you record on the side of the mountain?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I definitely
we could do that."
Yeah, and they're like, "All right, well yeah, your name's on the list." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
I didn't have the equipment to record on the side of the mountain.
So you were like scrambling to find something?
Yeah, I hit up my my buddy who was in does radio, like is the small town radio things. He works for oh my gosh, what's the name of the anyway, he, and I know he like he sometimes interviews like a high schooler at the side of the game or whatever. So I hit him up, asked what mic he used, and then just got the same one on Amazon, and it showed up like 2 days before the X Games started. Didn't have the proper footwear at the X Games. I was in like these, and it's icy, you know.
No wool socks, no nothing.
Wool socks. The thing I kept on slipping, like in the it was like kind of a scene, just because I had tennis shoes on. Oh yeah. And I had boots and just didn't think about it.
You were excited about it.
Yeah, exactly. I was so excited about it. I had it, and it just so much of it worked out perfect that Aspen is a super expensive place. Yeah, super expensive. And the I had a friend who her dad and her were going there, so I slept on their couch at their Airbnb, and then I would try to eat once at the ESPN provided like in this press tent lunch. So I would just stocked up on lunch, like a plate full of mac and cheese, and it was not very good food. You know, but I was like, I'm eating one time today. So yeah, and then my like fun fact I use in school all the time, like when first day, like say your name and a fun fact. I can clap one hand with one-handed clapping. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. On what was that MTV show? Like Fantasy Factory. Fantasy Factory broke the record for most one-handed claps in a minute.
Did you beat it?
No, I like in class or whenever I one-handed clap, people were like,
bring that up.
Yeah, bring it up. So I looked up the video, and then the guy goes I could never beat it. And he has an advantage. I can't one-handed clap with my left hand.
Are you lefty?
No, I'm righty. Oh. So, but and he's going both hands, and they count both hands in the world record. I was like, I don't think. But in the speed and the two hands, I don't think I can do it. Not going to aspire for fastest one-handed clapper in the world, but.
Yeah. All right. We're about to end the show with rapid fire questions. All right.
All right, sweet. I'm here for it.
Last show you binged and love.
I watched Game of Thrones with Emmy, and I'd seen it before she hadn't, and we binged it until like the last 3 episodes. Have you seen Game of Thrones?
Yes.
And then the last 2 episodes, I don't like. It was built up, and then I didn't. You
didn't feel. I kind of feel it, especially when the war started. Like at the front of the castle. I don't know if it was a castle, the fortress, or whatever.
Yeah. I don't mind with what they did. I thought it just was very rushed, but we didn't finish it. We binged it and then just like stopped watching with 2 episodes ago. Yeah.
What was the nickname your family gave you?
So in high school, everyone called me Nicky C. Nick Castner.
That.
Yeah. And my mom still calls me it, so it's one of those nicknames. I don't know. People from high school or my mom called me Nicky C.
Okay, Nicky C. One pet peeve about podcasting.
Pet peeve about podcasting. Like about podcasts I listen to.
Anything.
For the most part, when the hosts go on like long tangents about nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we're just like, how does this? And I think like there's sort of I would say that's the art to it of like, you want some to like, oh, hey, I'm Nick. And like, this is what I care about. And like, I am a character in your life. But you can do that too much.
Yes.
And there's some shows when like for the first 20 minutes, it starts with them talking about like what they got at the grocery store yesterday. And it's like, you've lost me. I don't care.
H3 does that sometimes.
Yeah. That show is a...
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Not surprised. I've only seen, there's constantly stirring stuff up, you know, with just internet drama. Yeah. Yeah. Not, yeah.
Would you rather be able to speak every language or talk to animals?
I think every language would be cool.
Everybody said that.
Yeah.
So if Joe Rogan appeared right now, what is a question you would ask him?
I would ask him. This is whenever I've talked to people who really make content that's scaled, and why does it resonate? Like, why do you think you made something that resonates with like such a large audience? And I think their answer is always, I guess, unique, sort of. You know, like I think it's interesting to hear what they say, and I would probably ask that same question.
I like that.
Yeah.
What does a person need to be happy?
Their own definition of what happiness is.
Like it. Okay. What is something that most people do easily, but you find hard to do? This is hard for me to answer, dude.
Yeah. Do you have an answer while I
don't.
think of it? Yeah. That most people find easy. Well, a kind of a goofy answer is I'm a terrible sand volleyball player.
Oh, me too, bro.
Yeah. And yeah. I feel like I have terrible handwriting.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. That I'm not great at like organizing my personal things.
I feel you.
You know, like my shoes are just in my closet's a mess. I don't really make my bed. That said, when it comes to like for the CommonWealth file, what?
That's different.
Yeah,
that's
it's
way
different.
different.
It's different, and that's organized, and like things are on time, and like that's important. But when it comes to like
my shoes are.
My like workspace is like all over, and like notepads everywhere, sticky notes for days. Yeah.
What is one thing you wish you didn't own?
One thing I wish I didn't. Overall, I have a lot of like just stuff. Like my closet is full, and I literally wear like 4 things to a fault. Like not much diversity in my little like outfits.
Yeah.
You know, I wear the same T-shirt once a week.
Yeah.
So that I think like I could just own less like clothing and stuff. Yeah.
What is something that people take seriously but shouldn't? That they take seriously but shouldn't. Oh, okay. I think a lot of times, and this is myself included, themselves. I think like not taking yourselves too seriously. I'm also like a culprit of that, though. Yeah. That's a great answer.
Thank you.
And last one, did you enjoy your time on Blazin A Trail?
So I am honored to have been invited, Tut.
For sure.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. This should not be our last podcast.
No, this was just the beginning.
Just the beginning, yeah. There's some things we should talk about after.
Oh, for sure.
Here. Yes.
Do you have any questions for us? Sound like Mike Tyson there, for us.
Who is the next guest after me?
It's either John Goodwin, Malone Center director.
Oh, okay.
And originally, it was supposed to be Landon for tomorrow.
Okay, sweet.
So, yeah, we're reorganizing that.
Yeah.
So, either John Goodwin or Joanna from Froggy 98.
Oh, okay.
So she'll either that, because we had Liz Whitaker.
Oh, yeah, yes.
We had it in my apartment, but this was the first time Nelson had this new lens.
Okay.
So the focus was off.
Oh, classic.
And I recorded two tracks as stereo. So it's literally mimicking each other, so you can't use it.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn. Okay.
So we had to scrap it.
Damn.
So
has happened to me though. Same thing.
It like
happens.
I can't even do nothing with this. That's what's sad about it.
Yeah. And Elise, I know Liz pretty well. And I'm sure she wouldn't mind coming back to do it.
Yeah, that's what we talked about.
Yeah.
So you got anything to promote?
Go follow the Commonwealth on YouTube.
Yeah.
Thanks for already letting me plug that.
Yeah. Tell all the things. Where can people find you?
I'm kind of everywhere, sort of. Or I try to be. LinkedIn, Instagram.
We'll put
Facebook.
it up there.
Yeah. And then Commonwealth again, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, the subscribe. And then I kind of play the role of manager of Emmy's music. So she has one project called Is That Enough? That's out wherever you listen to music, but like Spotify more than likely.
I like the title.
Yeah. And then her next one is called Yellow Year. And that's currently in production. We're working with a team in Ashland, Nebraska. So.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's okay. Well, thank you again for having me.
Yeah, for sure. So we would like to thank y'all for listening to Blazin A Trail. Remember to leave a review, comment, subscribe, leave a comment on the things that you learned or the things that you learned about our friend here, Nick. So make sure to follow us at Blazin A Trail Podcast on Instagram. Thank you for being my guest.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. Also, do not compare your journey to somebody else's. As you could see, we are all walking different paths. So just know that you're already perfectly in progress. Just take it a step at a time.
Can I add one thing to that on the whole you asked about the content creators' advice to like if you want to make content is, don't try to make what someone else has made.
Facts.
Yeah, if you're going out there to try to be like Joe Rogan didn't start podcasting trying to be like anyone else.
Exactly. He just did his own thing.
Yes, exactly.
So, as always, start with yourself because you are the one. So make it happen.